Who doesn't love Juri? Throughout Street Fighter's rich history, Juri Han exists as one of the boldest and most unforgettable characters to emerge from the franchise. Bringing her electrifying villainous energy, she stands out among the series' roster of fighters and is arguably the most popular combatant to show up since the days of the release of the iconic Street Fighter II. Functioning as the series' first Korean character, Juri has become infamous for her chaotic style and penchant for sadistic thrills. However, beyond her fierce gameplay style, perhaps what is best about Juri is that she represents an edgier, darker side of Street Fighter, defying conventions with her unrestrained wild persona and captivating fans of her distinct brand of allure and unpredictability. With her twisted personality, there really is only one Juri, providing a compelling counterpart to the traditionally heroic Chun-Li. No one could argue that her presence hasn't brought a refreshing intensity to the franchise, solidifying her as a fan favourite and an iconic anti-heroine in the fighting game space. With all of this said, join me today as we celebrate her impressive legacy, as we look back at her creation, backstory, and everything about this female fighter that makes her so appreciated. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy Top Hat here. This is the insane rise of Juri Han. Yeah! Juri was an absolutely amazing character who has featured in every single Street Fighter game since her debut. This of course includes the latest entry in the series, Street Fighter 6, a title where unsurprisingly she has functioned as one of the most popular roster members of all. While this game was initially very expensive when it came out, using my link I can get you an absolutely ludicrous 74% off of this modern classic. Or if you want to add the newest additions to the lineup like Bison and Terry Bogard to your roster, I can get you a big discount on the game's Year 2 Season Pass as well. Get up to 90% off of thousands of modern, AAA and retro and indie titles, all by using my affiliate links down below. Happy bargains and happy shopping. Capcom unleashed the captivating Juri upon an unsuspecting public with 2010's Super Street Fighter 4, a fresh and exciting update to 2008 Street Fighter 4. She entered the scene as one of the main villains, a fierce henchwoman to the sinister boss, Seth. Notably, Juri was the first true female antagonist in the Street Fighter universe, a milestone for the franchise that had, until then, been dominated by heroic women like Chun-Li. And make no mistake, Juri wasn't just another villain. She was cast as Chun-Li's dark mirror image, a twisted, sadistic operative of the evil Sin organization, shadowing Chun-Li's mission to defend justice. But the similarities don't just end there. Both Juri and Chun-Li share a haunting past. Each of their parents was taken from them by the ever-dangerous, dastardly despot Bison, yet their paths diverged dramatically after experiencing similar trauma. Chun-Li dedicated her life to justice and integrity, while Juri embraced her dark impulses, wreaking havoc as a chaotic force of evil. Her brand of villainy, think tax evasion, pensioner kicking, degradation, and humiliation, and a whole arsenal of unrepentant cruelty. What's interesting is that during development, initially there was talk of Juri becoming a tragic, misunderstood character, someone drawn into crime by love and bad luck. But Capcom executive Yoshinori Ono saw her potential differently. He insisted that Juri's character should be truly, unapologetically wicked, and he was right. After all, why introduce Street Fighter's first female villain if you're not going to let her be deliciously and unapologetically nasty? That's what Juri's all about. Also, as already mentioned, Juri wasn't just Street Fighter's first female villain. She was also the series' first Korean character, a direct response to the franchise's rising popularity in the region, where fans clamoured for a character of their own. In fact, Capcom's Korean branch was so insistent on this that they took their request straight to executive Yoshinori Ono, who quickly set his designers to work on crafting a character to embody Korean representation in the series. But let's be clear, Capcom wasn't exactly first on the scene here. Rival studios SNK and Namco had already made waves in the Korean market by introducing Korean characters in their Fatal Fury and Tekken franchises years prior. Nonetheless, the effort put into designing Juri was monumental. She wasn't going to be just any fighter, she was set to become one of the most memorable in fighting game history. Through her meticulous creation process, allegedly 400 to 500 concepts were sketched up, with designers exploring every possible version of Juri you could think of, from thick to thin, from ice skater to MMA fighter, until one concept finally stood out and was given the green light. The final Juri, and the one we all know and love, would end up being a blend of fierce and feminine, designed to stand out in every way. She sported a black and purple chest plate held together with a spider-like design on her back, complete with 8 straps resembling spider legs, fingerless purple gloves, and flowing, baggy trousers with a distinctive cutout that reveals her tights. Her foot wraps and eye-catching neon pink nails serve as bold reminders of her rebellious spirit. Capcom leaned heavily into her sultry, daring side, making Juri more overtly sensual than any previous female character. A decision that's clear in her design, her movements, and her unapologetic attitude. Juri's trailblazing qualities don't stop there. She also became the first ever Taekwondo practitioner in the Street Fighter universe. And considering the lineup of martial arts already featured in the franchise, including the eyebrow-raising yoga fireball techniques, it's a wonder Taekwondo hadn't made the roster sooner. Taekwondo, known for its dynamic high kicks, spinning attacks, and striking mix of power and precision, was the perfect fit for Juri. Originating in her home country of Korea, Taekwondo has also proven its worth in real-world combat, with MMA champions like Valentina Shevchenko, Anthony Pettis, and Bas Rutten incorporating its techniques. Juri's combat style is nearly all kicks, with only a few hand strikes sprinkled in, making her attacks distinct among the cast. Like the boxing specialised Balrog or Street Fighter III's Dudley, who thrive in close quarter combat without projectiles, Juri shines up close with her kick-centric offense. But don't underestimate her at range. Her dive kick combo is a pain to dodge and gives her a formidable long-range edge. Juri may have her quirks, but her fighting style brings a refreshing, challenging twist to Street Fighter, proving that when it comes to taking on opponents, she's as fierce as they come. Juri's outfit is a highly stylized take on traditional Taekwondo gear, designed so that her silhouette in combat would mirror a Taekwondo practitioner's dynamic movements. This blend of authenticity and style is classic Capcom, mixing martial arts tradition with the colourful, exaggerated flair of the Street Fighter universe. As for her personality, Juri is the polar opposite of the noble female fighters Street Fighter fans knew before her. She's ruthless, utterly void of compassion, and driven not by honour but by vengeance and a dark love for inflicting pain. Juri doesn't just like to fight, she craves it, and she's furious when anyone takes away her chance to toy with an opponent. Call her what she is, a nasty piece of work with zero qualms about torturing her enemies for her own amusement. Essentially, the perfect woman. This vicious attitude, coupled with her fiery temper and cunning mind, makes her a dangerous asset to the Sin organisation and a terrifying opponent in the ring. Juri's as ruthless with her colleagues as she is with her enemies, frequently betraying allies with the flair of a wrestling villain. In the words of her own boss, Seth, Juri respects no laws, no morality, she does whatever it takes to achieve her goals and quench her limitless thirst. Yet beneath this dark exterior, Juri has shown rare glimpses of humanity. In the Super Street Fighter 4 OVA, for example, she even spares a young boy's life. However, she'll never achieve M. Bison's level of villainy if she continues showing that sort of weakness. Juri's deadly prowess goes beyond her Taekwondo skills and razor-sharp cunning. Her true weapon is a powerful device called the Feng Shui engine embedded in her left eye. Implanted by Sin after she lost her eye to a Shadowloo attack meant for her father, this device pushes Juri's strength, speed and agility to near superhuman levels, making her a devastating opponent. Her Super Street Fighter 4 journey kicks off with a cryptic phone call, likely from Seth or a Sin operative, invited her to a no-holds-barred tournament. True to her twisted nature, Juri lets out a sinister laugh at the thought of a rule-free battlefield. Once in the tournament, she plows through her opponents with ease, unleashing her brutal style on anyone in her path. The real thrill comes when she faces off against her nemesis M. Bison in a showdown of villains. "I was really planning on saving the main course for last," she taunts, promising to eat him up anyway. Despite Bison's raw power, Juri's cunning and speed secure her victory, propelling her to the final face-off with the main boss Seth. After defeating him, her ending scene reveals the depth of her ambition. She'd planned all along to overthrow him as the head of Sin, using the tournament to pit her enemies against each other. Her plot to seize control worked flawlessly, proving that Juri's cunning mind is every bit as deadly as her kicks. The scene reaches its brutal finale as Juri steps into the role of judge, Juri, an executioner, stomping down on Seth's chest and shattering his tandem engine, ending him with finality. In true Juri style, she delivers her Megadeth-inspired quip, "Rust in peace." Her merciless takedown left a lasting impression, and Juri's popularity skyrocketed after this debut. Ironically, while she became an instant fan favourite in Japan and the West, the reception in Korea was cooler than expected. Still, with such overwhelming fan demand, it was only a matter of time until Juri returned to the franchise, and return she did. In Street Fighter V, she would function as one of the first downloadable characters, becoming playable in the game in July 2016. This time around, Juri's attire saw an upgrade, shifting to a sleek, collared bodysuit with an open front, while staying true to her signature black and purple theme. Her story in this game starts with an ambush attack from behind by none other than the devious Bison. Seizing the moment, Bison grabs Juri by the head and rips the Feng Shui engine right out of her eye socket using his psycho power. Badly injured, Juri heads off to what remains of Sin Laboratories to construct a new eye, ultimately creating the Feng Shui Alpha. In her pursuit of a new eye, Juri crosses paths with Colleen, who, posing as Helen, offers her a place in a scheme to topple Shadaloo. True to form, Juri scoffs at the invitation, but soon finds a perfect chance to test her new eye's capabilities when she encounters Balrog. After a decisive victory over the powerhouse boxer, she's greeted by Sea Viper, who coldly informs her that she's free only because she isn't the true threat, hinting at Shadaloo's imminent danger. Determined to confront this looming threat head-on, Juri infiltrates Shadaloo's base, where she's met by the venomous Fang. Their showdown is intense, with Fang using his poison clouds to push Juri back, forcing her to regroup. Recognising she can't do it alone, she reluctantly reaches out to Helen, accepting her offer to team up against Shadaloo. Juri's role in Street Fighter V isn't limited to her primary storyline. She's heavily involved in the DLC expansion, A Shadow Falls. Here she allies with characters like Charlie Nash and Helen, all with the same shared goal of overthrowing Shadaloo. Her antics led her to Brazil, where she makes a bold entrance on a sleek motorcycle and famously accuses Vega of being a big pervert, a charge we can't really dispute. In this era, Juri cements herself as one of Street Fighter's most entertaining and unpredictable anti-heroes, blending chaos, charm and raw power in every encounter. Juri also makes cameo appearances in the main storylines of several characters, including Cammy, Guile, Abigail and Seth. One of her most amusing appearances is in Abigail's story, where he complains about feeling flat, leading to a misunderstanding where Juri thinks he's accusing her of being flat-chested. Her feud with Seth continuing also reaches an amusing climax, where she inadvertently resurrects him but in a new feminine-like body, essentially forced feminizing one of her greatest adversaries. Could you even think of a more deviant way to get revenge? Beyond the main Street Fighter series, Juri has appeared in a range of crossover titles that showcase her unique style and character. Her crossover debut was in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, released in 2012, where she teams up with Bison in a volatile alliance to pursue the mysterious Pandora box. True to form, both villains ultimately turn on each other, resulting in an explosive clash reminiscent of the iconic Apollo Creed double punch from Rocky III. Later that year, Juri appeared in Project Cross Zone for the Nintendo 3DS, where she initially fights as a rival unit with Seth but later switches sides to join the heroes mid-game. She returned to Project Cross Zone 2, released in 2015, again paired with Bison as a rival, though it's unclear whether she's there by choice or circumstance. Given its non-canon status, it doesn't impact her official story anyway. Juri would also show up in 2017's Shadowverse, a digital collectible card game where she teams up with Bison and Cammy. Created by Cygames and built on the Unity engine, Shadowverse quickly became a mobile hit, amassing over $100 million in revenue during its first year, and spawning animated spin-offs. And while it may sound like I'm plugging a mobile game, rest assured I'm not getting paid for it. At least not this time. If you want to support my work, as always, grab some amazing deals on digital games using my instant gaming affiliate link. There are bargains aplenty. As we moved into the next decade, the Roaring Twenties, at EVO 2022, a trailer was shown, revealing more about the lineup of fighters set to appear in Street Fighter VI. One of these combatants was of course none other than Juri, a fighter who by this point was without a doubt the most iconic character to come out of Street Fighter IV. Juri made her comeback to an ecstatic crowd, who couldn't wait to see the return of Street Fighter's infamous bad girl, or as I like to call her, everyone's favourite Street Fighter super skank. Now, more lifelike than ever, she rolled in on her signature motorcycle, embodying the chaotic energy fans love. This spider-obsessed thrill-seeking goth unleashed her devastating moves on a new fighter, Jamie, utterly dominating him. Hilariously also true to form, she even took a moment to snap a pic on her light pink cat-themed mobile phone to share the victory online. Described on Street Fighter VI's official website as a sadistic thrill-seeker who finds joy in her opponent's suffering, Juri relishes every moment of humiliation she dishes out in combat. In this latest installment, set further in the Street Fighter timeline after Bison's apparent demise, she now drifts in a dark, restless haze, lacking the motivation that revenge against him once provided her with. Sharp-eyed fans would have noticed subtle changes to her look. Her fringe was given a fresh, rebellious twist, including a pink highlight on the left side, and her outfit combined elements from her original Super Street Fighter 4 design with casual accents, giving her a revamped yet nostalgic vibe. Juri's comeback in the Street Fighter 6 trailer set the gaming world abuzz, with fans and media alike intrigued by her updated look and moveset. Her overtly edgy and flirtatious style seemed to cater to, let's call them, a certain fanbase, who were quick to point out the focus on her signature bare feet, a design choice that did not go unnoticed. The Verge, for instance, remarked that Juri seems a bit edgier than Kimberly, stomping all over her enemies in bare feet, emphasised in ways that would make Bob Odenkirk click like. It's always intriguing when companies embrace the player's desires for their characters. Even Chris Moyse, Destructoid.com senior editor, humorously remarked on the foot action, noting that Capcom appears to be fully aware of Juri's appeal, noting the impressive level of detail on Juri's soles, commenting that, yeah, I'm all for it, and you can at me, I don't give a f***. The excitement for Street Fighter 6 and Juri's reimagined persona was palpable, and her bold new design left fans wondering just where this latest incarnation would take her. But by June 2nd, 2023, Street Fighter 6 would officially hit shelves, meaning all their questions would begin to be answered. When the game finally dropped, we found Juri spiralling into bitter memories of her unrelenting hatred of Bison and the eventual collapse of Shadaloo. She recalls the sheer intensity of her need for revenge, a single-minded obsession that had driven her to the edge. But as Bison's fall became inevitable and Shadaloo crumbled around her, Juri found herself unsatisfied, burning with frustration. She hadn't delivered the final blow herself, and that hollow victory gnawed at her, leaving her restlessly searching for answers, unable to enjoy what should have been her ultimate triumph. This turmoil led her on a relentless quest for answers, one that pit her against none other than Chun-Li, and the very fighter that is often considered as her light side counterpart. When they met, their conversations took a tense and unexpected turn as Chun-Li, perplexed by Juri's chaotic path, questioned why Juri hadn't sought peace or a new direction in life. Predictably, Juri scoffs at this question, throwing a barb right back, asking Chun-Li why did she choose to retire after Bison's demise, suggesting that Chun-Li only acted as an agent for her own revenge, hinting a bit of hypocrisy on her part, with her in all honesty having a good point. In this scenario, Chun-Li was quick to respond, telling Juri that if revenge was truly her only motivation, she wouldn't still be walking this dark, twisted path. Chun-Li senses something deeper, suggesting that Juri's relentless quest hides a need she hasn't yet uncovered. Chun-Li urges Juri to confront her past, perhaps even to find redemption, telling Juri directly that, in a way, you too are one of Bison's victims, which draws an unexpected connection between them. With her trademark laughter, Juri dismisses Chun-Li's words, playfully taunting her to lecture harder if she's serious about changing her wayward ways. Yet later, we catch Juri on her motorcycle, lost in thought. Chun-Li's empathetic words, calling her another one of Bison's victims, seems to have struck a chord, slipping through Juri's guarded exterior. She brushes off these feelings, muttering her distaste for the growing connection she senses with Chun-Li. But try she might, it's clear the words unsettled her, challenging her more than any fight ever could. This poignant moment reveals layers to Juri's character that few could have expected, leaving us to wonder if she'll keep going down this path of chaos, or if redemption still is a possibility for Street Fighter's fiercest anti-heroine. To be honest, I think most of her fanbase would prefer the former. In the World Tour mode, Juri emerges as one of the available masters, offering players a chance to learn the intricacies of her kick-focused, relentless fighting style. As players earn her trust, Juri opens up, slowly revealing details about her complex past. She shares memories of her tangled relationship with Sea Viper, her obsessive missions to dismantle Shadaloo, fragments from her turbulent childhood, and her evolving, if complicated, rapport with Cammy. As Juri's layers unfold, players gain an intimate look at the internal battles she's fighting, revealing a far more conflicted character than her ruthless exterior suggests. For example, choosing her as a master doesn't just unlock her powerful moves, but also grants a rare window into her guarded, turbulent psyche, a chance to glimpse at the woman behind the venom and to wonder if there might be something more than revenge fueling her journey. In fact, she tells the Street Fighter 6 avatar that at just 15 years old, she was already a taekwondo prodigy, a beautiful genius who dominated every tournament and stunned judges with her skill. Her father, a revered lawyer, fought organised crime with the tenacity of a warrior, wielding justice like a blade, slaying evildoers left and right, as Juri proudly recalls. The whole country admired him, and Juri was no exception. She idolised him, dutifully honing her taekwondo skills under his watchful eye, determined to make him proud both in the classroom and in the dojang. Unfortunately though, as we know, this tale doesn't have a happy ending. Juri's father's crusade for justice drew the attention of Shadaloo, the infamous crime syndicate he had vowed to dismantle. Shadaloo retaliated with ruthless precision, abducting Juri's entire family. In a brutal struggle, her parents were killed, and Juri herself barely survived, her left eye irreparably damaged. In one night, the beautiful genius lost everything: her family, her innocence, and her sight. What was left was a hollow shell of a girl she'd been, with a shattered future and a dark, festering anger that would soon consume her. Although we still don't know for sure if any of this is actually true. As she would later tell the Avatar, she lied to them about her tragic past. However, it's likely she said this just to save face as a dastardly villainess. In a slightly more amusing turn of events during Street Fighter 6, in a text exchange with the Avatar, Ryu admits to absolutely hating spiders. In a later exchange with Juri, she notes that she's aware of a certain famous fighter who can't stand our eight-legged friends, so admits that in an act of sadistic trolling, she decided to sneak some into his sleeping bag. Adding, he shrieked like a baby. Pathetic, right? But of course, Juri's story no longer concludes just here. As of the release of Street Fighter 6's Year 2 Season Pass, all that Juri has been led to believe has recently come crashing down, as somehow Bison has returned. As one would expect given the gravitas of the situation, Juri is stunned to encounter a revived Bison in the eerie depths of the ruined lab. Though he seems to have lost all memory, he instinctively engages her in combat, driven by a fierce curiosity to understand the power behind the name Bison. The fight is intense, but once again Juri finds herself overwhelmed. As Bison seizes her by the throat, she defiantly vows to make him remember his true identity, and to ultimately be the one to bring about his downfall. Yet as she's cast to the ground, her frustration is palpable, the rare sense of helplessness infuriating. With a sinister sneer, Bison mocks her as a squawking crow, taunting her to continue to fight and feed his insatiable thirst for power. In a sense, the arrival of Bison, stripped of his memories but not his power, serves as a brutal reminder of the unpredictability that Juri both loves and fears. Her mocking taunts, once a tool for amusement, now ring hollow as she grapples with the reality that her nemesis has the advantage once again. The irony of her situation gnaws at her. She's finally faced with an opponent who doesn't even remember the hatred that fuels her, rendering her vendetta strangely meaningless and leaving her fury untethered. This renewed Bison, devoid of the past but pulsing with raw strength, is a figure she can neither fully hate nor pity, and the unsettling power dynamic between them leaves Juri unnervingly vulnerable. What's more, her usual sadistic thrill is dulled as she realises that the tables have turned. Bison has become her tormentor, goading her with his dismissive jeers and reducing her to the role of the squawking crow. For someone as defiant and independent as Juri, this is a new kind of suffering, one that attacks her pride as much as her power. Yet in true Juri fashion, she won't let her frustration show fully. Instead, she doubles down, feeding off of the humiliation to fuel her vow for vengeance. It is a bitter twist that in this face-off with her ultimate nemesis, she's forced to confront her limitations, and perhaps the reality that her quest for dominance may never be fully realised. If you want to experience the latest chapter in Juri's journey, don't forget I can get you 74% off of Street Fighter 6, as well as a huge discount on the game's Year 2 Season Pass. Get up to 90% off of thousands of modern, AAA, retro and indie titles, all by using my affiliate links down below. Happy bargains and happy shopping. Cheerio!